there was a very interesting study. It was called the Cosby Effect. Basically, this study showed that during the primetime run of the Cosby Show, crime rates went down a little bit. And the enrollment in colleges by African Americans increased, especially at Spelman, which was the school that some of the children went to in the series. The basic premise of the study was to show that when African Americans were presented in a positive light in the media, individuals could identify with that group and apply it to their lives. That's why TV has a lot of influence on the mind, both consciously and subconsciously. That's why you've got to be mindful on what you consume. Be careful with it. You're not going to eat McDonald's every single day. You can enjoy it once in a while. But if you eat it every single day, it's going to destroy your body, make you unhealthy, make you gain weight, fuck up your heart. It's the same way with the media. You can watch it once in a while, enjoy it, but if you consume it all the time, it's going to mess up your thought patterns. That's why a lot of individuals that do not have a strong family structure or do not have a lot of experience in the real world, they get their information, their worldview, the way they view reality from the box. Speaking of which, it's widely known that what comes on the TV is bullshit. The media is fake. Movies are supposed to be fantasy. Even the movies that are based upon real stories, a lot of them are more fantasy than reality. But what's crazy is the stereotypical love movies, not only are they bullshit, but the way that men act in those films is completely and utterly the opposite way that in real life you should act if you want to get a girl. If you act the ways that they act in Hallmark films, the ways that they acted in sitcoms or the high school films, the female will, at worst, press charges for you stalking her, and at best, make you the gay friend. Not literally gay, but you're basically asexual. You go to dinner with her, you're friends with her, you're her emotional tampon, but you don't get any sex from her. Right after she's done with the douchebag guy or the guy that is a real man or treats her the way that she wants to be treated, she calls you up and then talks to you about how much of an asshole he is. And that's how I started it. I noticed that I was nice. In general, I'm nice to everybody. I mean, I'm not super nice, but in general, I don't start shit with people and I do my own thing and I'm nice to people. But I noticed that all of these women would talk about, oh, you're a sweet guy, you're a nice guy. But they would never give me any. And then they would always call me up after they were with their douchebag boyfriends and they would be like, tonight he did this and this and this. And so I'm a person, I put patterns together. I can observe things, I can look at similarities, and then I can put them together and make those similarities into a generalization. And what I noticed was a pattern, that these women were making me the friend while they stated how sweet of a guy I was. And then all these douchebag guys who they supposedly hated and would talk shit about, to me, they were fucking him. So I thought I would rather be the guy they are fucking than the guy who gets told about how much of a douchebag those other guys are while simultaneously not getting any. So think of the TV shows that we had available. Let me just use one for a quick example. In the 90s, one of my favorite shows was Family Matters, Steve Urkel. Now, the behavior that he exhibited in that show was just pathetic. Now that I look back on it, I don't really like the show too much. Now that I'm older, more astute, more mindful, and I can understand that that show glorifies women. He's a pussy in the show. So I have no respect for him. When I was a kid, I used to enjoy it. That being said, though, in the show, he is obsessed with her. Constantly. She rejects him. Not only does she reject him, but she's a bitch. She does not even want to be seen in public with him. She will not even admit to being his friend. She barely wants to touch him, and she's grossed out by him. Now, if a girl was like that towards me, I would stay as far away from her as possible. I would not give her the time of day. I would not give a shit what she does. I would not care that she exists on this planet, because pussy's pussy. It's like a bus. It comes every 10 minutes. It's not like any girl has monopoly on the pussy. Once you understand that, once you start to get out in the world, you get that. But on one episode, he uses money that he was going to buy a telescope with because he's really into science, and he gets her a piece of jewelry. She doesn't even accept it. And he's like, I'm not worthy of you. I worship the ground you walk on, or some bullshit like that. Because he's her fake husband for a week for this stupid school project, and she's just using him because he's smart. But then it justifies it at the end of the episode because she accepts it. See, all the woman has to do is show up. The guy has to do the project, he has to buy the gift, and the woman apologizes and just shows up. Throughout the series, she constantly rejects him, even though he saves her dad's life. He constantly gets her out of trouble. He helps her with school, but what does he get out of the deal? Sometimes he barely gets a peck on the cheek. That's it. And I know it's a show. I know it's supposed to be comical. I know it's not supposed to be a real representation. But at the same time, every movie is sort of built upon that premise. Even the Hallmark films, that the guy meets the girl, they have a good first date, and after that date, he sends her flowers to work. He sends a teddy bear to her home. Now, in real life, if you do that shit, the woman is completely turned off. If you bang a woman, if you go to dinner with a woman, and you call her 6 times the next day, then she is going to be completely turned off by you. But if you act like you have better things to do, if you don't hit her up, it's scarcity. Think about it. Gold is found in less than 1% of the crust in the earth, compared to copper, iron, and other commonly used materials. And that's why gold has a higher demand, because the supply is lower. And so when you make yourself scarce, when you, after banging a girl or going to dinner with her, if you don't hit her up for like 2 days, you just mind your own business, then she's going to be curious and think, what is he doing? His life must be really exciting. He must be doing something amazing if he isn't hitting me up. It's going to make her curious. And it's kind of like, have you ever had a friend and you did not see them for a extended period of time, a week, a month, so on and so forth. And when you guys saw each other, you literally had all this stuff to talk about. You literally had everything to talk about because you didn't see them in so long. But you guys probably did this a lot. In high school, during the summers, you would hang out with your friend pretty much every day or every other day. And since you saw them all the time, you didn't have much to talk about. It's kind of the same way. So it's scarcity. You make yourself scarce. When she calls you, you don't answer half the time. On holidays, you're busy. On the weekends, you're busy with the guys. You make sure she comes on your terms. You make the move. You tell her you're going to pick her up at a certain time. You go to dinner. You have a great time, and you let it be. You let those thoughts simmer in her mind. And you act like you don't give a shit about her. When she wants compliments, you act like you don't give a shit about it. You're just like, because people want what they can't have. And so once she gets you, she's not going to want you. That's why you got to make yourself seem like you're harder to get. But if you do the opposite, if you're with a girl and after you have sex with her, go to dinner, or you're around her, and the next day you text her 6 times or call her, that's going to completely turn her off. And if you send teddy bears, that's going to make her think that you're easy, that you're not hard to get. And see, movies are the opposite. They always make the douchebag boyfriend end up losing in the end, and the nice guy getting the girl. And people think that's the case and they do it. And now understanding how the game works and being a four-dimensional thinker, 4D chess, supposedly that's what Trump plays. I don't know. I don't know all about that. But basically the premise is thinking 4 steps ahead. I tend to do that. Just because I've had experience psychologically in a lot of cases. That's what happens when you kind of reach manhood. You become more astute in your thinking. But there was a particular girl that had a huge crush on me. And I did not know it at the time because I met her when I was like 18. I'm 26 now. So actually I was younger. I was like 16 or 17 when I met her. So I did not understand how the game worked. I would always ignore her. I would insult her a lot of the time. I would barely respond. I would act like I could care less about her because I did not want her to think she liked me. But it did the reverse effect. And so becoming more mindful of the situation, I found out she's in the military and she's going to be stationed near me. And so I thought, okay, I gotta, because I'm not going to lie, I like to bang chicks. That's what I like to do. I'm a normal man. It's a normal primary need of a man is reproduction. And so I know that if I have a girlfriend, especially one I'm not attracted to, the fun goes away. She messaged me on Facebook and she's like, hey, Aaron, I'm coming to your particular area. And I'm like, oh, shit. So what did I do? I constructed a plan. So what I did was the next day, I called her like 3 times in a row. And I messaged her. I said, hey, please answer. I really, 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 really need to tell you something. And I was doing this, like a 4D chess move. I told her, I said, I gotta admit something. I really love you. I've always loved you, and I just want to date you so bad. And I said, I know right now it is only September, but December 25th, me and my family are going to have Christmas here. I want you to come here with me. And I said, what's your address? I made it realistic, though. I talked to her for a few minutes, and she's like, oh, really? You could tell she's just completely, utterly losing her attraction. I was completely turning her off, so I just wanted to continue that. And so later on, I said, by the way, what's your address? I want to send you a teddy bear. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it, Aaron. I'm good. And I was thinking, hell yeah, I'm winning this shit, and we talked a little bit, and I told her, she said I had to go, and I said, okay. I said, let me know if you can talk later on, please. I really want to talk to you. So I did the opposite, and I haven't heard from her since. It's been like a week. She used to call me almost every fucking day. And so it works. The opposite works. If you ever are with a girl that you just want to bang, and you don't want her to bother you, act like you're really into her. Compliment her all the time, kiss her ass, but if the opposite is true, vice versa, and you're really into her, act like you could care less. Act like you're busy. Act like you're hard to get. And refrain from complimenting her. Just give her kind of backhanded compliments like, you're great, you're terrific, you're awesome. Because especially attractive women are used to guys kissing their ass, saying, you're my angel, you're my love, you're beautiful. If you just generally keep it cool, like, you're cool. There's been plenty of times where the girl was like, I don't know if you like me. I don't know if I'm good enough for you. And I just said, no, you're good. You're cool. You're fine. Kind of like showing them that, oh, you're cool. You're fine. You're good, And it's kind of different to them because they're used to getting their asses kissed. So, hey, my advice, if do the opposite. If a girl really likes you, you're not into her, go ahead and plan for her to come to Thanksgiving, quote unquote. She won't really do that, And Thanksgiving's a long way. If she agrees to it, hey, it's a long time till November. A lot of things can happen until then. Wink, wink. But if you really like her, as hard as it's going to be, especially if she's attractive, you got to refrain from contacting her. You've got to refrain from complimenting her. And when you actually do compliment her after a while, it's going to completely and utterly rock her world. But she's going to question herself and think, am I not good enough? Why isn't he questioning me? Am I not good enough? What's wrong with me? What's going on? And when you're not heading up for a long time, what is he doing? What's going on with him? It's going to make her curious. She's going to spend all that time questioning. Meanwhile, you just sit back, you let her come to you, and that woman is going to be all over you. And that's kind of the way you go about it. It's crazy. And it's funny, though. Women always say, I want this. Whatever a woman says she wants, she's full of shit. Don't believe her. When you ask a woman, what do women want in a guy? And then they say, a guy who's sweet, who's caring, who's not. You know, I don't believe any of that shit. What women say they want is they're describing Earth, when what they really want is all the way outside of the Milky Way fucking galaxy. Never listen to what they have to say. Do the opposite of what they say.